Hello, 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 and welcome to the big show. This is Dim Lights and Stiff Drinks at Dive Bars of Seattle, podcast of dingy taverns, back alley saloons, gritty roadhouses, and dive bars of the greater Seattle area. We explore the seedy history and salacious backstories of these timeless drinking establishments, along with sampling of what's on tap and swapping some tall tales. We hang out in the places where sorrows are drowned and future regrets are made, so you don't have to. And if you're watching at home, you can click the skip intro button and get right to the good stuff.
Yeah.
We don't just talk about these awesome dive bars in the confines of some cushy recording studio. No, we come to you live directly from Seattle's greatest watering holes. We are here tonight at the DeLuxe Bar and Grill in beautiful Capitol Hill.
With me, as always, Capitol Hill bar, by the way, which is kind of surprising.
That's right. That is right. Yeah, the first Capitol Hill on the podcast.
Check that off the list.
So for our listener who's 2, 3, 4 episodes in, wondering why the hell haven't these guys visited some of the timeless dive bars at Capitol Hill? Well, here we are. So shut your pie hole.
Yeah. There's a reason we kind of put that off, because a lot of these bars, Capitol Hill is pretty hopping. So
oh, for sure.
A lot of times.
And I think we could have a whole episode on the dive bars that have unfortunately come and gone in this neighborhood too, right? We're going to get in a little bit into that more into the further into the episode here too.
R.I.P. Charlie's. R.I.P. Charlie's.
R.I.P. Charlie's. R.I.P. Eileen's.
Oh, yeah.
Ernest Steele.
There's no shortage of them. No shortage of them. All right. Well, with me as always in the Dim Light crew, and maybe we should call ourselves the Dim Bulb crew. Bob, producer extraordinaire.
Hey, now.
Noted historian and celebrated author Brad the Stash Panda.
What is up?
Sweet motherfucking Lou.
Happy to be here.
And I'm host for this episode. Let's go with Jay Dusty.
Jay Dusty?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about why I chose Jay Dusty.
That's when you're hard up.
Later.
Everything okay with you, Jay?
No, yeah, we're okay. Yeah. So
Like Angel Dust, PCP?
No. Dusty in a good way.
Stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dusty on the upside. Okay. Yeah. Well, like I said, we are here at the DeLuxe Bar and Grill in really the heart of Capitol Hill, or one of the hearts. Capitol Hill's got a couple of good hearts.
Our
We're right on Broadway.
Posse
is on Broadway. So, Brad, why don't you maybe tell us a little bit about where we are and why we're here and what's so cool about the DeLuxe?
Give you the lowdown on the DeLuxe?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, this building, which, by the way, is on Capitol Hill, first opened in the 1920s and operated as an ice cream parlor. But, of course, the 1920s was during Prohibition. Prohibition was in full swing. And legend has it that there was a speakeasy down in the basement here when it was an ice cream parlor. In 1934, when Prohibition was repealed, it opened as a drinking establishment known as Thomas McClenahan's Beer Parlor. It was actually, legend holds it that it was the first bar to get a license from the Washington State Liquor Control Board as soon as Prohibition was repealed.
First bar in all of Seattle?
That's what legend holds. Now, I haven't been able to verify that, but I was talking to the owner today, too, and that's what he's always heard. But even if it wasn't the first, we do know that it was probably one of the first 5, let's say.
So what I want to know is, what was the first place that had the ice cream license?
Yeah.
The ice cream license.
Yeah. Could have been this place.
Could have been this place.
We don't know. We don't know.
It's a mystery. So Thomas McClenahan's Beer Parlor. Beer Parlor is such a cool name. I wish more people use that. It's such like a cool old-timey name. You know,
kind of ambiguous though. Like I don't know, what do they sell?
You get a beer, you get your hair done, get your nails done.
Oh, excellent.
One of those places.
Right.
But if I was going to open like a beer pub or something, that would be a pretty dope name to open as.
Beer
like
parlor.
A beer parlor.
Yeah, for sure.
Stash Panda's Beer Parlor.
Yeah, I like it. Good ring to it.
Yeah,
right.
I like it.
Got an old school vibe to it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. No one else is doing it.
Not that there is anything wrong with Bar and Grill. Bar
No,
and Grill,
not at all.
another classic.
Not at
another
all.
classic.
But that's how they opened
a
up.
Slightly more modern classic.
We do know that within a couple years, it changed its name to the Deluxe Tavern sometime around in 1936. So it has been operating as different versions of the Deluxe since 1936.
Deluxe, son.
Despite the name change, McClenahan initially remained the owner, and he even opened a small chain of other Deluxes throughout the town. So there was a Deluxe Tavern number 2 on First Hill,
Pill Hill to the listener.
Yep, on Madison Street. Deluxe Tavern number 3 in the Montlake neighborhood on 24th. And there was also a Deluxe Tavern, kind of like an unofficial Deluxe Tavern number 4 downtown on 3rd and Madison.
I don't
So
know,
you
man.
had a local franchise of Deluxes going.
Yeah,
The
that's
name
cool.
Deluxe, though, kind of has that. What's the term for something that's like superior, like the top, the best, the ultimate? So is it
Yeah.
like Deluxe, and then there's like slightly less Deluxe, and maybe not quite as Deluxe, and
Well, the Deluxe is the
somewhat
top.
less than Deluxe?
I mean, when you go to Dick's Burgers, what do you get?
the Deluxe.
Brad,
The Deluxe,
you
man.
took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say
Right.
this.
Top of the food
So,
chain.
like,
Let's
Deluxe
reference the
number
logo.
It's a good
4,
name.
I don't know.
I was talking to the owner today, and apparently the number 3 over in Montlake, the old place where it used to occupy, there's like some kind of business there, and on the sidewalk they have kind of those like tile style
Spanish
entries.
tile?
Yeah, kind of like the Spanish tile, and it, you could it still says Deluxe number 3 on it from when it was the
That's
Deluxe
cool.
Tavern.
Cool.
So there's
Cool.
still like a remnant of it still in existence, which I thought was pretty cool. So back then, Capitol Hill was a very blue-collar neighborhood. And so the original Deluxe Tavern was a very blue-collar, working-class bar. And it went all the trappings with it. You know, in 1938, it was raided by the local vice squad because it was operating illegal pinball machines. In addition to pinballs, which were considered gambling devices back at the time, there was also they also offered poker games and punch boards. So they were one of those taverns. They were
Oh
your
yeah, one of those seedy taverns with pinball.
well, very
Yeah.
like working
Can't
class,
trust those guys.
like your typical tavern you'd see
Your neighborhood
in working
tavern.
class neighborhoods. Yeah, neighborhood place.
You get your paycheck, spend way too much of it here.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
home, get in trouble.
Probably caused more than a few divorces. Exactly. Yeah.
Pinballs and booze, always a nasty combo.
Yeah. Nothing good ever comes of that. In 1958, a fire broke out and almost completely destroyed the place. They had to completely rebuild. It was almost a complete loss, but they had to completely rebuild the interior. The current owner, which we're going to get into, did a remodel in the late 90s. And he said when they were like opening like some of the walls and stuff, you could see the charred remains of that 1958 fire still there. You know, you could see like charred wood and stuff.
You know, I kind of wish there was still like a wall with like maybe some exposed,
To show
brick
the-
or wood or
On
something.
the backside, I got
Yeah?
it might be. Well, I'll double check. I might
All
edit
right,
this out.
all right.
Speaking of the remodel, this might be a good time to mention all the ironwork you see here in the bar was done by a friend of the podcast, Brian
Yeah.
Arvick.
Oh, so he did those ones?
Yeah, all this ironwork.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he was
Local
Cool.
artisan.
Restoration Hardware at the time, and they got the contract to do it. So
What year did he do that? Do you remember, like,
that
approximately?
would have been about 2000, 1999.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So in 1962, 2 men purchased the Deluxe. Their names were Joe Rogel and Bernie Minsk. Within a
Buy it
short
with
period
Al,
of
Bernie.
time, they began expanding the size of this place by purchasing the businesses that were next to them, which included a laundromat and a small neighborhood grocery store within the same building. So they just started expanding, and if you walk around, you can almost kind of see the layers of expansion that have happened
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah.
It went from kind of like a small tavern. The original Deluxe, the original beer parlor was just a small kind of like little hole in the wall, and they've been expanding ever since.
Yeah, if you really look around to the architecture, you can see, remnants of, like you said, what was originally like a slender hall, like a true
Yeah.
beer hall.
Yep.
It's slim, goes way back
Yep,
in, maybe
yep.
a little kitchen in the back or whatever.
Yep.
And they have subsequently knocked out a shit ton of walls.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Now we have like kind of 4 major rooms all connected.
And they were all different businesses basically at one
Yeah.
point. So every time
Yeah.
you go into
You
a different
can-
room
you
in
can
this
see
place,
it. Yeah, if you
there
pay
was once a
attention.
completely different business that was operating here.
Kind of cool. You walk in and you
Yeah.
might just kind of miss that little detail, but if you know the
Yeah.
history, you'd be like, oh yeah, I can totally see it.
Yeah, when you know their history, then you can definitely see it. It kind of pops out at you. So they eventually added a kitchen, and then they transformed it from a regular beer tavern into the restaurant and bar that it is today. In fact, the expansion was so significant that they started out with one address, and because of all the expansions that have taken place, they have a completely different address now than what they started out with.
So
it
if
was-
you're
it
playing
was
pool
major.
and you want to get your mail, that's a different address. And
Yeah,
if you're
right.
drinking beer on this side,
Yeah.
And
Okay.
a half.
A decade after Rogel and Minsk took over as owners, we have our first crime story, and this is a pretty good one. I like this one.
Woohoo.
Police blotter update. Doot-doot-doot-doot-doot-doot-doot.
So, in 1974, an employee was opening the place up at 5 a.m. Probably they're going to make breakfast or whatever. Suddenly, he felt a gun pressed to his ribs. The man holding the gun told him not to say a word, and he said, let's go downstairs. So he marched him downstairs, tied the guy up to a chair, and then the robber casually asked him, okay, you're tied up, where's the hand truck to this place, the dolly, right? So the employee told him, the guy casually went up the stairs, and then he used the said hand truck that he found to load the 350-pound safe of the restaurant, which, by the way, contained $2,000, loaded it onto the hand truck, then carted it out the back door, loaded it onto his truck, and drove off into the sunset. Well, I guess it was 5 a.m., so he drove off into the sunrise, but just the simplicity of it, it's kind of ingenious.
Pardon me, where do you keep your hand truck?
Right?
The
What-
safe is quite heavy.
Well, and this is a completely new kind of class of robber that we've encountered, right? Because, I mean, by my estimates, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, so far, I would say there's been 3 categories of robbers that we've encountered in these stories.
Bumbling idiots.
That's one of them.
Cat-
Bumbling robbers is for sure one of them.
Cat burglars.
Hitting
The
with
cat
cotton.
burglars is
Burglars,
another one.
yeah.
Sneak
And then
in.
you got your kind of garden variety of thug. You know, the
Yep.
guy that comes in, pulls a gun, this is a stick up, and then, you know, demands the cash from the register.
Smash
Strong
grab.
man.
Yeah, smash and grab. Sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't. This guy, though, I would say he's kind of more like a methodical robber.
Maybe like a la D.B. Cooper or something.
Well, it was so, he just had such a matter-of-fact, methodical way he did it. He just marched him down, no one got hurt, tied the guy up, all right, where's the hand truck?
But
You can almost picture him whistling as he's loading the safe. into
Kudos.
the,
kudos to his methods, but all I'm thinking of is 350-pound safe hand truck, $2K. I go, that's a tough way to make a buck, man, for fucking all that work.
yeah,
for
let's,
two-
let's,
74,
let's
that's
also,
like maybe 8K today.
let's not let
call
this
it
guy
that.
off the
Let's call it
hook,
8,000.
right? He had a gun, right? So, I mean, yeah, thank God nobody got hurt, but he's not fucking around, right? He's got a
He
gun.
wasn't fucking around.
and-
But he probably knew he wasn't going to need to hurt the guy. He probably knew, like, I just need to tie this guy up, spook him a little bit, ask him where the hand truck is.
It's almost
and
like
I'm
a
out of
gentleman
here.
burglar. or
You know what's
Yeah.
going to happen is when this podcast comes out, the owner's going to listen to it and go, oh, fuck, Eddie. And he's going to go downstairs and his skeleton's going to be still tied to the chair.
Well, apparently,
Man.
Dude,
apparently
sorry.
he was tied up for a couple hours, and it wasn't until like a nearby business heard his cries for help that they went and rescued him and untied him and called the cops and
That's
everything.
scary
By
stuff,
that
man.
point, of course, the safe guy
So
was.
I think we need a follow-up
gone.
story, Brad. Was the gun loaded?
I don't think it even mattered if he did. He just pressed it to his ribs, and that's all that. That's all that
38
mattered.
special hollow points.
Yeah.
Now you're just going to a dark place there, Bob. I mean, come on.
Well,
I like to go to the place where it wasn't really loaded. This guy was, you know, like you said, he was methodical.
He was
Maybe he was-
methodical.
Didn't want to hurt anybody.
maybe he was a referee and it was
needed the
his
goddamn
starter
save.
pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just picture him being really casual
It was a
about
Nerf
it.
gun painted black.
You know, he loads the safe in the back of his truck. He casually drives off. Maybe he passes a cop a few blocks away,
Gives
waves
him
to
the-
the
give him the
cop.
nod.
The cop
Officer.
waves back, still whistling the tune. You know, one of those dudes.
That's a good move.
Goes and
Yeah.
pounds on it with a sledgehammer for the next 4 days, trying to open it up.
Smooth
Never does get it
operator.
open, then it ends up dumping it in the lake.
Yeah, who knows?
Well, you did say it was $2,000.
Yep. Yep. He made off with $2,000.
That's what they claimed on the insurance.
Yeah, who knows? Now, in addition to the crime story, there are also reports of ghosts down in the basement. One of the
That's
ghosts.
dude, he's still tied up there.
Yeah, it's like, God damn it,
Eddie.
you assholes.
The tied up ghost. Help! No, apparently one of the ghosts is a dapper gentleman attired in 1930s clothes that the regulars believe was from when it was a speakeasy down there, back during the Prohibition era. And I don't know, like, if he died down there or what happened, but that's just because of the type of clothes that people see him in. They think he was from the speakeasy. And then there's also a boy and girl ghost team that also spook people down there, and they think that's from when it was like an ice cream parlor.
This is in the basement, Brad.
What's that?
This is in the basement of the.
It's the basement. And apparently, this basement at one point shared space with the Harvard exit basement.
Okay.
before the Harvard exit closed down.
That's a movie theater just next door.
Just
It
next
was.
door. I guess their basements were either shared or adjoined or something. So there's a little kind of overlap there, and some people aren't really sure, like, was the speakeasy part of the Harvard exit? Was it part of this place? No one really knows.
Or if
but
it was
there was
truly,
a
if it was
speakeasy
truly
down
a speakeasy, maybe that was a backdoor escape when the
been.
cops are raided or something, right?
Yeah,
I can
could have
totally
been.
see that with the Harvard exit. That place
Yeah.
is like gothic.
there. And apparently there was an article in The Stranger written by the writer Dominic Holden, who apparently
No
saw
relation.
the Dapper Gentleman ghost. Wrote
Really?
an article about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So I'll
Did you
have
see
to
the
look that
kids?
up. I think he just saw the gentleman. He just saw the Dapper Gentleman. I don't
So
believe
I
he saw
gotta
the
wonder,
kids.
like, there might be some themes going on here with dive bars and ghosts, right? Like, were these perhaps children or this dapperly dressed gentleman that died in the fire?
No, the fire was in 1958. So
Pre-fire.
I don't think anyone died in the fire. It happened like in the middle of the night when no one was here. And then
Well, we know Merchants is haunted for sure because kids died in that basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. There have been a few places we visited where there's kid ghost, right?
Yeah.
Then of course
Couple.
there's a heroin ghost at the at Woody's.
Woody's,
Yep.
correct,
Yep.
upstairs.
Yeah, we'll have to do a Halloween episode one of these times.
That's
Just
right.
go over all the ghost
Whole
places.
ghost story. Oh, my
the
God. Yeah, we could make a
tavern
whole
ghost.
episode and a half out of that. Easy.
Totally.
All right. Well, anyway, fast forward into a couple decades. So the original owner, Joe Rogel, his son Barry Rogel, and his wife purchased the business, and they continue to operate it today. I actually talked to Barry, the current owner, and he was really super cool to talk to. So it's been in their family for 60 years, and that's another thing we've come across quite a few places where, it's like a
Yeah,
family-owned
rich family
tavern that
ownership.
stayed in the family.
Yeah,
and
very
it was so cool talking to him because he's so passionate about this place. To him, this isn't just like a job or a way to make money. Like when his father was nearing retirement age, he went out of his way to buy it from him and like keep it going. He grew up here. He was a kid here when his father was running it, and so it holds a special place to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's probably like Dana up at
His shanty?
up at the shanty, where she was
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
coming in and doing the books in the morning with her dad and
Yeah.
helping haul stuff out in the truck. And
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Put
hope
him
it
in the
stays in the
joint.
family for another 60 years.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's going
Pass
away
it on to your
anytime
kids.
soon. So like his father, Barry, the current owner, has tried to maintain a community focus for the place. Barry, as he pointed out, it's always been just a neighborhood place. That's all the DeLuxe wants to be. It's gone through different remodels, but what it wants to be is a neighborhood bar and grill, and that's what it is. And indeed, if you study its history, that's what's happened. It went from kind of like a blue-collar tavern when it first started to more of a neighborhood bar and grill when his dad took over. And as the city grew more cosmopolitan and the neighborhood changed, the DeLuxe was there to embrace those changes. This included when Capitol Hill started changing demographically in the 1980s into more of a so-called gay neighborhood, or a gayborhood as I've heard it called before.
Neighborhood.
The DeLuxe embraced those changes and eventually began hosting events, during Gay Pride Month and stuff like that. I remember when I lived up here and the Gay Pride Parade used to be on Broadway.
Yeah.
And I would see it every year.
Such a pivotal location, right? It's like
Yeah,
really
I miss
the
it being
epicenter.
there.
This- A lot of
And this
people
place
weren't
was always
happy that
decked
went
out.
downtown.
Yeah,
And
this place was always decked
the one
out.
across the way, Broadway Grill, was also
Oh,
Broadway
yeah.
Grill,
You
yeah.
can't, you can't be in this like one block vicinity without
Yeah.
being like right in the thick of it. Like,
Yeah.
Now I think it goes down
Just
Second
yard.
Avenue or something. It's not
Yeah,
nearly
it's
as
downtown.
cool. It's downtown. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not the same. But anyway, they've always like embraced whatever the neighborhood is. This place has always embraced it because it really kind of like celebrates its role as being a neighborhood bar. Overall, through decades of change, the DeLuxe has remained true to its neighborhood roots and remains a staple on the Capitol Hill bar and restaurant circus.
Yeah,
So that's
Damn straight.
That's the story.
That's an awesome story. And I was gonna say, I will personally attest to its neighborhoodness, if that's a word. 'Cause I used to live about 2 blocks away on 12th and Roy. And I used to come down here all the time after work. They had a great killer happy hour.
Yeah.
May or may not do a little mushrooms and then come down here and play pool. And actually, it's great with your game because it helps you see like the angles and everything's all congruent.
I've actually heard people say that before.
Visualize
Yeah,
the
it's a
cliche.
trip. So
Yeah.
this is a great spot. Hanging out with my friend R.I.P. Metal Jeff. He put me onto here like maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Metal Jeff, is that what you said?
Yeah, that was his name. Metal
He was
Jeff.
actually made of metal.
Yeah, he was. But
Was he a metalhead?
Passed away
Yeah,
because
totally.
he roasted.
yeah. So yeah, it's a great neighborhood bar. It's been my neighborhood bar before. So,
Yeah,
It's a
I
great
used to spend
spot.
a lot of time here.
Nice.
Yeah,
What about you guys? You guys
yeah.
used to live on the hill too. Did you guys spend
Yeah.
much time here?
Well, we lived up on 15th, on Earl 17th and Denny, so ours was the Canterbury.
Oh, okay.
Man with the suit of armor.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
remodeled the Canterbury back
It's-
10 years ago.
it's like-
but
it's
that would have
hoity-toity
been
now.
an amazing place for a podcast prior to the remodel.
Prior to the remodel, yeah.
Yeah, it used to smell like malodorous.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Like a good dive bar should.
it was carpeted too, and they never cleaned the carpet. Like it was totally like when you'd be sitting at your table and like
Yeah.
you could feel the layers in it.
Just the stickiness.
It was straight up dive bar.
Thick patina. Yeah.
Back in the day, I was down First Hill, so south side, right? So I'd come up in kind of south end of Broadway here, hit like a Bauhaus for breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Head over to like the Comet or Mo.
Did you ever-
know,
Yeah,
that end, and then
Moe's.
kind of work my way up? But it had definitely come up to the.
Did you
Deluxe
ever
a few
stumble
times for
down
sure.
to Madison to the Quarter Lounge by chance?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun place.
Yeah,
right,
for
right
sure.
by Vito's.
There's some
remember
great little
across the
places
street
that
there
are
used to
kinda
be
tucked
a-
in little different neighborhoods down there.
Yeah.
that most of them gone. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Is Vito still there?
It's closed,
Yes.
I believe, right now. I don't. We got to double
The
check.
building is still there.
Is
but
it?
I don't-
Yeah,
is
but
it open?
I believe it's temporarily closed, or because I
Oh.
could be wrong, but I heard
Okay.
that. But that would be. We got to.
If they
that's on
open,
the
we
hit
should
list.
head up there.
Yeah.
The history there is with like the Catholic and the brothers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
good Lord.
Yeah, that has
Yeah.
a really cool history.
Yeah, that place
and then
is great.
across the street from here used to be Orpheum Records. You guys
Oh,
remember
yeah.
that place?
Orpheum, for sure.
I used to spend a lot of time there
Yeah,
too.
totally. Yep.
Lots of money spent at that place. But anyway,
All right. Well, I was gonna say we could kick off what you're drinking, but
We're about
I
all
think-
ready for
I think
round
one
two,
Of,
it
yeah, I
looks
think
like.
one of the first times of the podcast here, we got to do round two before we even get into what are we drinking because we're all fucking dry.
yeah,
Hey-o.
perfect timing.
So let's just take us out into round two here, and we'll come back. We are back, and we were talking about doing what you're drinking. But, I was just thinking about this, and during the break, what you're drinking is kind of hard for this place, right? For a couple reasons. One, we can all talk about what we're drinking. That's the easy part. But holy shit, the beers on tap at the DeLuxe Bar Grill here are easily like 4 to 5 times the number of taps that we typically
It's an
see.
impressive list here.
It is impressive. It's impressive. So, almost to the point, like, I don't know, does this transcend beyond a dive bar? Because the tap selection is so fucking epic.
It's not just any bar and grill. It is the Deluxe.
It is
bar.
Deluxe.
Yeah, this
It is
isn't
Deluxe,
This
son.
isn't the special bar and grill. This is the Deluxe Bar and
that
Grill.
The original Deluxe, when it first opened, served one beer, Rainier.
Really?
They
Wow.
served Rainier, and that was it. I mean, that's how much of a
And
bar it was.
Rainier
Now
is
look at
still
it.
on tap.
Number one listed
Yeah.
on the tap list.
Yeah.
Rainier.
Yeah, Rainier.
I can still see the tap
I'm
handle
glad
from
they
here.
still are carrying it.
You know,
$5
God bless
for a
them.
pint too. Good value.
Yeah, it's a good deal. Yeah, for sure, good deal. And shout out to the Deluxe. They offer pitchers, which not all places do. A lot of dive bars do. Pretty kind of old school, but some of them don't. It's like some places have gone away from doing pitchers, which is a shame in my book. So Deluxe has got them. Even have a discount pitcher for the good old Rainier.
Well, and the
God
other
bless
thing we
them.
were talking about
Good-
when it
good
comes
call
to the
on that.
beer, and maybe I was in the minority here, but I was pointing out, I thought it was actually really super cool how, depending what kind of beer you ordered, they had a particular kind of glass to serve it to you. And
Huge variety
with
of
the proper
glasses.
way of serving
Way more
I
than we
like it.
typically see.
We should
like
take
it.
a picture of that and put it on the gram because I got a pint glass. He's got a flume, a champagne kind of flumey looking thing, and Jeremy's got the stubby that you hold
goblet.
like a brandy snifter.
I do
Goblet.
have glass envy because you all have it
Well, our-
easily twice as many ounces as I do, you motherfuckers.
But what's the octane on yours? That's probably...
Well, that's the thing is it's not a high octane beer,
Oh, okay.
but it is a limited release from Elysian
Okay.
local. So
I mean, is it like on nitro, or is there something...
no, it's just
Just limited release?
Just a limited release. It's a
Okay.
fresh hop IPA from Elysian.
Fresh hop.
I was going to say Elysian does it every year, but they don't. They actually don't do these type of fresh hops every year. They change it up. And since we talked about on the last episode, in fact, fresh hops is so hot right now. Everybody's doing fresh hops. But like a good, true microbrew like Elysian, it's super limited, and therefore you get a tiny little glass for double the price.
Oh, that's why. Well, is it all that in a bag of chips?
It is fantastic.
May
It's
I just
amazing.
take
For sure.
snicker?
It is incredible.
I'm watching them closely
And
to make sure it's
served
just a
in a
sip.
tiny little goblet, like you said, Lou, that would imply that maybe it's like a fucking 12%
wow.
beer. And it
That-
tastes like a really good, heavy, like intense, multifaceted beer. But it's not a high ABV. It's 6.8 or something. Not super high.
And it's not like heavy hoppy. It's like fresh hoppy.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
Well, you're
very
seeing
fresh.
a lot of that because
lot of
wasn't it just
intensity.
harvest season
That's right.
when they harvested the
yeah,
hops?
tis the season.
Tis the season of fresh hops.
Tis the
nice,
season.
nice.
Well, and the Lazy Boy that you and I drank when we first got here, Lou, that was fresh hops.
Yeah, that was delicious
And,
also.
and this would be music to your ears, Brad, but it's also season for pumpkin beers. Fantastic.
That's
pumpkin.
right. Brad's got a pumpkin beer
Call
in his
back.
fridge that's been there
That's right.
since Maddie picked it up for you.
Yeah, I'll gift it to you.
So
a late birthday
this is
present.
an Elysian Fresh Hop IPA, which is fantastic. But shout out to Elysian. They pretty much wrote the book for pumpkin beer and pumpkin beer festivals. So Elysian
Yes.
still does every year while they skipped with pandemic and shit, but they still do their...
But you really like pumpkin beers.
Well, I do. And
Okay.
but
You just
Elysian's-
like that one pumpkin beer.
No, I like pumpkin beers, a lot of
What?
pumpkin beers. Elysian makes some of the best.
Yeah, I don't
Right,
know, man.
but they're not the only one.
would
There's
you-
some good pumpkin
This will be
beers.
our last episode with Jeremy. It's been,
Fine.
Jeremy, it's been
Fuck you,
nice having you on the show.
Screw you guys, man.
Any applications for beer guy?
Don't
or
say
being
that.
sent-
Don't say that until you go to Elysian's Pumpkin Beer Festival.
My God,
with-
to me and
with
Brad,
dozens
you might
of
as well
pumpkin
call
beer.
it the Raw Onion Festival. Am I hearing
Yeah.
it?
I'm not going to be attending any pumpkin
Delicious.
beer festivals with you, my
Come
man. I'm
on.
sorry.
Come on.
So you would consider yourself an aficionado of the pumpkin beer?
Oh, I would. For
And
And
sure.
I'm probably just
Yeah,
like
I would for sure.
I probably had two and they were crap, and now that's it for me.
Just haven't found the right ones.
Yeah, so
just keep
maybe
sampling.
If you
Keep
could
sampling. Keep going.
you narrow it down
Yeah.
for the listeners. Tell us what's a good pumpkin beer.
But what a weird pairing of things, like pumpkin and beer. Who the fuck thought of that? That is so weird. That's such a
I
random.
think in the
Well,
in the Northwest,
I
maybe a
don't
little,
want to say Elysian invented it because they didn't, but they have really done it right. Elysian makes some fantastic pumpkin beers. They have one called Night Owl, which
Oh,
is
I've seen that. That's popular.
and it's amazingly good. And they actually have a couple of pumpkin beers that were so good when they came out a few years ago that now they do them every year, and they're super, super popular. There's now national distribution of something that used to be you could only get in Seattle, but is so damn good, you can get it all over the place now. So, like I said, Elysian didn't invent it, but they do a really damn good job.
I want to give a shout out to the name of my beer. It's Scared Shipless.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice
That's
maritime
brewing,
reference.
right?
Maritime Brewing.
Yeah.
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 We also have got some really good names here. Smack Northwest, Cashmere
No,
Fresh.
wait. Stop with Smack. Tell them where Smack is from.
Whereas Smack is from Jellyfish.
Yes, jellyfish,
Yeah.
which we don't see on tap and dive bars very often, but there have been a couple.
Yes.
Well, it was
Specifically,
on tap at
The wood
yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
when we were there.
That's right.
One
They
has a very recognizable tap handle.
For
Very
sure.
Yeah.
distinguishable.
Another one that kind of came out of nowhere, started off super small, tiny little nano brewery out of nowhere, just got super, super popular locally. Like the locals were just like, damn, this shit is good. Started seeing it in festivals, and now a couple of dive bars right here in the Deluxe, bam, making it big time. Or,
Yeah.
as big time as you can get with dive bar.
on the up and up.
What else you got on the list there, Lou? There's quite a few.
How about Fuck Ton of Hops?
Is that really its name?
Yep.
Fuck ton of hops.
They got some punny titles over here.
There's
huh?
the 10-ounce Tucana Tangerine. There's the 8-ounce Strawberry Raspberry Sour. 10-ounce
Pretty obscure, though, a
semi-precious
sour.
Fresh Hop IPA.
I
Don't
like
see a lot of sours in dive
Yeah,
bars.
Not at all.
But, this is Deluxe, son.
That's right. And we got the Spooky Citra Hazy.
Tis the season.
Tis the season.
Yeah,
I like it.
a Halloween beer that's not pumpkin. Just for you,
And
Brad.
like everyone else, they were unable to escape the grasps of Georgetown. So you can get Manny's here too.
Amen. Amen.
These guys are like the mob. They're like
Would
You will have
Manny's not be like the
Georgetown.
new Mac and Jack kind of? Well, it's kind of
Yeah, I
taken
would
place.
say
You know,
that's a
it
fair
kind of has been.
comparison.
Yeah, it kind of has been.
And
it,
ubiquitous.
if you're,
you
yeah,
see
if
it
you're not from the
everywhere.
area, you'd be like, Mac and Jack's, what the fuck are you
Yeah.
talking about, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, if you're from the area,
Back in
you
the
know.
day, that
yeah,
was the beer. Yeah.
The other one, like,
Speaking of Mac and Jack, you see less of it these days
Yeah.
than you used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's almost becoming extinct.
you know where you do see it, though, thank God? Costco.
Shout out to Costco. Nice.
Nice.
Well,
What are you drinking, Brad?
so I'm drinking the Ecliptical Hazy that you recommended to me. I think you got it first round, Jeremy, and it's really good. Yeah, I like
Ecliptic
this one a
Brewery
lot.
out of Oregon.
We're out of Oregon.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, another shout out to DeLuxe. All Northwest beers on tap.
Yeah.
Keeping it local. We'll give them a pass into Oregon. You know, they're not keeping it all Washington, which is totally fair.
And,
Our
brothers to the
Pacific Northwest
south.
brethren, though, you know.
Exactly, our brethren to the south,
Yeah.
and we'll even give a little bit of leeway to some, like maybe some Canadian beers if they throw it in. Although
Yeah.
we don't see many of those in dive bars for sure.
That
Like
is
a
true, huh?
Kokanee
Why don't we
or
see more like
something?
Vancouver or beers like
Some
that
great
from that region?
great
yeah.
brewers up in Vancouver, but
Huh.
yeah.
No Germans in Canada, I think. is
I'm
what happened.
guessing it's probably import-export laws that are keeping that shit expensive, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Might
That
have
probably
something to
sure
do
has
with
something
it.
to do with it. Yeah.
Goddamn politics, fucking
But then
with my
again,
beer.
remember back in the day, Moosehead? Did you guys ever drink Moosehead? They figured out a way to get that down to
which
us.
is
so.
now brewed in Milwaukee.
Or I'm thinking of
Is it?
Kokanee as far as dive bars. and
Kokanee,
Canadian beer.
yeah. that's-
Another
yeah.
one that is actually brewed outside of Canada now.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kokanee, I think, is global. They're brewed like in Europe
Big-
and
big
Mexico
time.
and like all over the damn place,
Nice.
for better or worse.
Nice.
Moosehead. I remember that was Metallica's beer. Remember that? Back when
Moosehead?
back in their partying days,
Really?
they were always sporting the Moosehead bottles. Yeah.
What about Moose Drool? Do you remember that?
Oh,
one?
there's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
there's
good
a good
one. Yeah.
That sounds like a joke beer.
No, it was
Does
a real
sound like-
beer.
but it's good. That's
Sitcom.
Alaskan,
What are we
right?
drinking?
Is that what it was?
Drool.
Yeah.
Was it Alaskan?
It was tasty. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
yeah.
Moose Drool, good one.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to talk about where we're at?
Where are we at, Lou?
This is
wanna
such an
keep it moving?
awesome fucking neighborhood.
Yeah.
Such an awesome
Hold on. Let's
neighborhood.
ask.
We've
let's
all
ask Sir
four
Mix-a-Lot.
have lived here at one point or another.
That's right.
We've all lived in Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
And I have
Shout out your intersection.
Boren and Minor, I believe.
17th and Denny.
12th and Roy.
Shit, I don't even remember, man.
Yeah, no, I had to think about.
I
mine,
was
too.
like way, like 4 or 5 blocks away over in First Hill. The Paul Revere. What was the address of the Paul Revere?
I don't know.
you
Off of
have
Olive,
an
maybe?
apartment there too.
That's a classic Seattle apartment complex.
Just down the hall
Yeah,
from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, just down the hall.
Well, and he had one of those beds that flopped down. The
Murphy bed.
Murphy, yeah.
Did you have a Murphy there?
No, I
Here to
did
you.
not. But I had, just before they remodeled the whole fucking building, there were about half of the studios and 1 bedrooms that had Murphys in the Paul Revere. And I was jealous of the Murphy for sure.
Murphy was pretty cool.
Murphys are dope.
What sucked though is the apartments in back in the day. The Murphys were cool, but the apartments that had the Murphys had these tiny ass little bedrooms, where when you folded down the Murphy bed, it's like that was the entire bedroom was now
it.
filled with your bed.
There was no more.
It was
It's
like
like
there
the
was either a bed or a
Apartment version
closet.
of a tent. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was
Which
like,
one?
yeah, you know what? That's kind of cool, but not that cool.
Yeah.
It's worth pointing out, I didn't do it for where we at, but you could do a segment on the architecture of Capitol Hill.
Oh, for sure.
totally.
And
yeah.
apartment buildings especially, there's a lot
Can we
of
give a shout out to the
classic-
castle right across the street?
Absolutely.
Yep.
There's been a ton
Did
of
you say
business-
Cassalutely?
It's a castle. It's a little mini castle. The businesses that have gone through there rotate. Last time I was here, it was an underwear store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally, a men's underwear store specifically.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
North
Well,
End
there's
Capitol
even,
Hill.
I remember that.
There's
a couple
a
of years.
Capitol Hill Historical Society that is dedicated to the history of this neighborhood, and they do walking tours. I
Oh,
understand.
yes, and I'm sure,
Yeah.
like, we
Cool
had the
apartments.
fortune on 17th and Danny, we lived in an Anhalt. And to our listener, that is probably the most famous Seattle architect, would you say, or Capitol Hill anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the 20s and 30s, he did an Anhalt, and it's around a courtyard. So it's 12 units
Yeah.
on 3 sides, a courtyard in the middle, and the idea was to bring everybody out and create a
It's
community.
like
in
a
this
Southern
courtyard.
European style, right?
And most of them are like Windsor or Tudor with the brown on white and the
Right.
ornate wooden windows. But the one we were in, he did a couple Spanish ones, so it was stucco and red tile.
Nice.
And like you said, the apartments they were in, it was this beautiful place. It could have been, super deluxe, but the guy who owned it was just a slumlord, kind of. So there was 12 units, two-story townhouses around a courtyard, and 2 giant hot water tanks for 24 people. So whenever work time shower was, you'd get in and it'd be like drip, drip, drip.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Stick your
I've
head out
lived
the
in a
window.
couple apartments like that, yeah.
It's not going to get better for anyone unless someone stops.
Or then the water could go
Can't
from like,
all be showering under us.
or the temperature goes from freezing cold to like scalding your skin in a matter of seconds, yeah.
Did any of you guys live in a place that was heated with steam?
Yeah, the La Quinta
Yeah.
is what it's called. The La Quinta Anhalt building was radiators.
Yeah.
Steam radiators.
Yeah.
Seattle was one of the holdouts for
And-
steam heat in the city.
There was
up
one
to
temperature.
10
Still
years
using it?
ago, yeah, like
Still using it.
Yeah, on like First and Pine, I forget the name of the building, but on the north east side, that building above Stumpy Seattle is steam. My friend stayed there. It was steam.
And
Steam heat.
there is still municipal steam, right? So it's not like
Well,
your
guys,
own,
we
your
gotta
own
give a
boiler.
shout
It's
out
like
to
the
our
city
favorite,
provides your steam.
Pike Place Brewing.
Pike Place Brewing.
Yeah,
Charles
absolutely.
Finkel, they're steam powered.
That's what. Yeah, that's right. We did learn that.
I'm going to do an event with him and Folio this coming National Beer Day in April to basically celebrate the repeal of Prohibition.
Is that
Nice,
Carolyn or
nice.
Carolyn over there?
Carolyn
Is she
at
still there?
Folio. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll keep you guys updated as we draw near and the listeners, but that should be pretty cool. I'm going to
Special
do a live
episode.
presentation.
Dude,
talking
special
about
episode.
it,
We love
and,
Folio.
We're hoping to get Charles and Pike Place Brewing
Yeah.
involved and
Oh, we
maybe
love the
supply some beer from the brewery. So
hell yeah.
All right.
details coming on that.
Very nice.
Market
very
party.
nice.
But yeah, they were back to your point. They were steam powered.
Yeah.
They're
Awesome.
still relying on steam.
Awesome. Yeah, and for the La Quinta also, there was one boiler, so you couldn't set the shit in your unit. Like the landlord set it for you.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
it was
fixed temperature.
68, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're
But
gonna like it.
It was amazing. It became
Not
a
the La
vortex.
Quinta Inn.
yeah.
We didn't leave
Not to
there
be
for
confused
3
with.
years. 'cause
Okay.
There was always a party going on.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you just
Most of
bumping
those
into people
courtyard
and-
style apartments like that were kind of like that. Everyone was close, and
The last time I was out when it was in Capitol Hill, and we were wasted, and everyone all lived in the building and run
Yeah.
around, and you're all friends. All right, see you later, Fran, or whoever.
Yeah, we would do a rotation party where each unit served a different thing, and you go around.
What was that? What was that
cool.
grungy like '90s movie? Where
Singles.
There you go.
that's not too far from here. And they still have, I think, like every year in the summer, that apartment building, which also has kind of like a courtyard, they do a screening of Singles there at the apartment
Nice.
building, like an outdoor screening.
As it
Good
should.
times. Good times.
And we should also clarify for the listener, if you're listening to Sir Mix-a-Lot and he's telling you my posse's on Broadway, he's not in New York going down Times Square.
Oh, hell no, man.
No, he's on Capitol
This is
Hill.
like literally half
Yeah.
a block from where we're sitting right now.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. And I didn't know this, but this used to be the place to cruise, right? To drive your car up and down the block all night.
So that's why
talk to
Sir
people.
Mix-a-Lot was
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah.
Like it was a place to show off your car and shout at girls and
Crank the music.
crank the music. Exactly.
yeah.
Go back and forth all night. So yeah, that was pretty cool. It got the name Capitol Hill apparently because the developer, this guy named James Moore, who got all the plats for it originally, and he wanted to hopefully get the Capitol moved from Olympia to Seattle.
Ah.
That would have been a shitty idea. There's no room for all those buildings.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have worked.
But anyway, and then the second story was that his wife grew up in a neighborhood called Capitol Hill in Denver. And he named it in tribute to her, named it after the place she grew up in.
Interesting.
I like that
Yeah.
story better because we're not moving the Capitol, right?
I'm thinking, government offices. If it were the true capital, I think like the Pentagon, you could just move all of those offices into the Malabar.
Right.
Yeah, It worked perfect.
I also heard that up until the 1980s, the neighborhood was also known as Catholic Hill.
Well, yeah. Well, that's
Because
in
of the
reference
Catholics.
to all the Irish Catholics who lived in those big old houses.
Oh,
the
North
street.
Capitol Hill.
Yeah,
where
it was
this-
full of them.
also called Millionaires Row, because back in the day, this was these were mansions at the time,
Yeah.
so to speak,
The
around Volunteer
The
Park.
McKays and the Quinns back in the day running
Now
the
it's
show.
crappy run-down condos that are $1 million.
Yeah.
Let's give a shout out to the Wild Rose, one of the few lesbian bars left in the entire country.
It's true.
Shout out.
Shout out to Wild Rose. Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee are buried up the road. Yep, Lakeview Cemetery.
That's right.
That's right.
What else we got? Shout out to Ernie Steele's and Eileen's.
Well, anybody who's listening does a little bit of quick Google research at Capitol Hill, Seattle, will find a treasure trove. And this is just
Well, there's
such
so
a
much.
rich neighborhood of so much history, so much cool shit that was going on, is going on, and will probably go on for the end of time.
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, when I lived up here, didn't even have like half the stuff that's here right now that you see, but it was still just a hopping place. It was never not fun.
Yeah.
And back then, I think I was more hanging out like Linda's wasn't even quite open yet. I think that was late 90s when Linda's opened. But Moe's,
Moe's, yeah.
Bauhaus Coffee,
Yeah,
the
Comet.
original.
There you go. I heard
Comet, of course.
the Comet Tavern.
Yeah.
This is a pre-Unicorn bar. Maybe Cha-Cha Lounge.
Which, by the way, I think we are going to have to do the Comet for one of our
Oh,
episodes.
yeah, we
the
are.
Vomit.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
That's
much
we
going
are.
to be a loud hopping bar.
That is going to be one.
Yeah,
But
we'll have to figure
Well, you
something out.
can. It'll be a Tuesday one at 5 o'clock, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah,
not.
we get it done.
It's not the
We'll
vomit of
figure it out.
yesteryear, though, too.
Yeah.
So,
I heard that.
Just rent the whole place out.
yeah.
Have you ever heard Moe's Mo Rockin' Cafe? I read an
Oh,
article
yeah.
where they called it Patient Zero because it opened in '94, and they were saying that was the first one that led the transformation from just a fun working class
into, like,
until more cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a
Because after
menu.
Moe's, there was kind of like things started popping up because you wouldn't come to see a show up here. That's why they built Moe's. Because
Right.
Yeah.
why do we always
That's
have to
right.
go downtown?
That's right.
And so once you start to get like
It is
500
true. That
people
Moe's
coming
kicked
to the
things off,
neighborhood
yeah.
for a show, you can get these national
Where are you going to
bands,
go to
like,
see a good
yeah.
punk show?
all those bars start popping
go to
up.
Moe's.
and- yeah.
We were there, I think the first week it opened, there was a group of us in Jim Rose, the Jim Rose Circus Sideshow
nice.
came walking in. And he said, hey,
Google
guys,
that shit.
are you guys going to be around for another hour or so? And we're like, yeah. And he said, okay, because they're not having a show tonight, but back in the show, I'm going to do have a private Jim Rose performance back then. You guys are welcome to join us. Cool. So we went back there.
Was
Holy
Mr. Lifto in attendance?
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
Tell me,
and then he just showed, this was pre-internet, but he had a collection of film clips of like crazy extreme stuff you see on the internet all the time now, but back then it was considered really wild and extreme. And he basically
Risque.
had
Yeah.
we watched a half-hour film of all these clips that he had put together of.
He was a total P.T. Barnum, like a local P.T.
Yeah,
Barnum-esque
yeah.
type of character.
So we're ready to wrap this shit up, right? So
Yeah, and thanks to our host Kayla.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Kayla.
She was awesome. She's been fantastic and very welcoming. And also the owner, Barry, for welcoming us. And he was really cool to talk to. And like I said, he really embraces the neighborhood here. And he really cherishes this place. So a big shout out to him for letting us come here and record tonight.
And the north end of Capitol Hill. Shout out to the north end
Yeah.
of Capitol Hill.
And until next time, with that, cheers.